Hey everybody, and welcome back to BK's Bullets. Today we're finally going to talk about the DC Universe streaming service, their new show or old show, Titans Season 1. Hey everybody, and welcome back to BK's Bullets. As always, I'm your host, Brent. We are not in the man cave today. We are on travel, working, and I'm working night shifts this week, so I'm about to go in. But I just finished Season 1 of Titans on the DC Universe app. I brought my Xbox along because it's a long trip, and since DC Universe finally got an Xbox app, I said, okay, I'll try it. And now that there's a wealth of content on here, is worth paying for, maybe. We have Titans, Swamp Thing, Young Justice, Doom Patrol are all pretty much wrapped up. I think there's 2 or 3 more episodes of Swamp Thing. And the first season of Krypton is on here, which I'm interested to watch from Sci-Fi. But everything else on this app, I don't know. I don't think it's really worth that watching. I already own all the animated movies, and I will continue to buy those myself. I prefer that. But what is nice about this app is that it does stream in 4K. Now, I'm not getting that in the hotel, but when I'm done with my trip and I go back home, because I don't think I'll watch every season of all these shows before I leave, but I will definitely be streaming some stuff in 4K. So that is nice. And some of these movies are in 4K, like Superman Doomsday is in 4K. I'm scrolling through over here, that's what I'm looking at. Swamp Thing, Titans, Young Justice is in 4K. Doom Patrol, Death of Superman in 4K, Reign of the Superman, Fatal 5, Batman Ninja, Gotham by Gaslight, Batman Assault on Arkham are all in 4K. Now, what's weird is they have the Superman movies. Here's 1 and 2. And is there 3 and 4 on here? I don't see them. I guess they're not proud of Superman 3 or 4. They have the old Superman TV shows. They did have the Batman stuff on here, Batman movies and TV, but they do not have Batman 89. They don't have Batman Returns. None of the Keaton stuff's on here. The Dark Knight Rises, none of that stuff is on here. It's just all animated movies right now. And that is weird because I know when they launched DC Universe, I think it was last year, those Batman movies were on this service. So what's weird to me with this service is that they're rotating content in and out in a service that's so niche. We're talking DC Universe only. There's no, Vertigo stuff on here at all. In something that's so niche, why on earth would you ever remove anything? Especially the Batman stuff. Unless, like they are releasing 4K Blu-rays right now of the 89, 92, 94, 96, whatever, the Burton Batman films all the way through Batman and Robin. So maybe that's why they had to come off the series, because they have these 4K versions out now that they're trying to sell. It's just really weird. Watchmen is on here. Not the extended cut, but, the Black Freighter, I think, is on here. Justice League, a lot of animated stuff, though not everything. Batman, Mask of the Phantasm, that might be worth checking out on HD, if that's the re-release that got upgraded. Lots of stuff on here. Under the Hood is on here. Just trying to scroll through it all. I guess I should have done it on the iPad, but oh well. Actually, it's not that... Yeah, there's really not that much, to be honest. If you've seen a lot of the existing DC animated stuff, you've seen most of what's on here. If you've seen a lot of the shows, you've seen most of what's on here. So really you're talking about, what about the comic book backlog? What about the new shows? And that may be what is worth paying for. Now, every month, probably not. I may do something like this every year where I pay for a couple months, then cancel, and I'll watch the seasons of the shows all at once, kind of binge, a whole year's worth of content, and then cancel. Since I do have a lot of the comics that I'm interested in reading on my iPad that I've been buying from Comixology during sales, I need to catch up there as opposed to read on here. And the reader on the iPad is not that great. I mean, it works fine. You can read stuff without downloading it. You can download it, but you can only download a certain number of issues, which I find weird. Why limit it? And the other thing that's frustrating about the comic reader app is you can't, like, anytime you go back to a series, say you're reading Batman number 494, and you want to read 496, or you want to jump around 2 more issues ahead or something like that, anytime you go back to the series, it jumps back up to the top. So in Batman's case, that's Batman number 1 from 1941 or whatever. You know, it doesn't save your place in your scroll, which is very unfortunate. So maybe we'll do an iPad thing on that later, and check that out. But we're mainly here to talk Titans Season 1. That's the only show I've watched up to this point. I haven't started anything else. And I really don't understand this show at all. It's very grim. It's very dark. It's very moody. I remember last year at San Diego Comic-Con, they debuted the trailer, and Dick Grayson came down and said, "Fuck Batman." And that was like the big, oh shit moment. This is dark. It is very dark. Very, very dark. I'm trying to watch this on the TV in my hotel room, and it's very hard to watch because, like, you know, it's a hotel TV. I can't change the brightness or anything at all to see these dark images and stuff. And it's very disjointed and, like, stretched out, decompressed. You know, it feels... People were complaining about writers writing for the trade 5 or 10 years ago, or even a little bit more, like, oh, you know, Bendis can't write a single story. He's always got to write 6 issues to tell a whole story. Well, this show has 11 episodes, and they don't even tell a whole story in 11 episodes, which is really weird. And most of the show is Dick Grayson finds young Raven, and they're trying to protect her, and then they encounter Corey and Beast Boy, and then they're on the run from her dad or this other... you know, organization that works for her dad, Trigon, who's not a red dude in this show, at least not yet. And it's just that. It's really slow, really drawn out. It's just like, come on, guys. Can we do anything interesting? Can we form ourselves as a team? They don't really consider themselves a group until like the 5th or 6th episode. Now, and they took 4 episodes to introduce each character. You met Dick and Raven in one, and then automatically in the 2nd episode, instead of the main core characters, we get one of the better episodes of this series called, what is it, Hawk and Dove? Episode 2 or 3 of the show. And it's like, these are compelling characters. This is what I want to watch, not this Titans crap. So that was really disappointing to enjoy the alternate, you know, minor side characters that are highlights. Yeah, it's episode 2. Highlights of the show as opposed to the main characters, which are kind of doldrums and boring and moody and stuff. I really like, oh gosh, I wish they had the actor. You could, like, pull up a description or whatever these actors' names. The guy who plays Hank Hall or Hawk is Alan Richardson, or Richardson, I think his name is. He's been in some other things, but I remember him from being the Aquaman on Smallville as part of that Justice League, so that was very interesting. And then you have the, crapping on her name too, the wonderful girl from Friday Night Lights is Dove. She's a joy here. She's beautiful. She's very good. And her whole, like, soft demeanor she had in every show that I've seen her in since really plays well into who Dawn is as Dove, as the, you know, emblem of peace. They don't have superpowers in this show. They're just vigilantes like Batman putting on some rubber suits and kicking ass. But they're also very violent. Everybody in this show is violent. It really takes this realism thing to, like, a whole nother level, to where they're, like, breaking knees, they're breaking bones, you got compound fractures, they're slitting throats or stabbing people frequently in this show. And it's kind of off-putting if you're really just wanting, like, a regular superhero show or whatever. Like, there's more violence in this. It's TVMA for sure, but there's nothing on this app that lets you know, like, hey, this is not for kids. It does say TVMA way up in the corner, but you know, the Doom Patrol episode, I think I enjoyed it. You know, I'll try the regular series and see how that is. But, you know, you got Donna Troy making an appearance. That was an okay episode. The really fun one was episode 6 with Jason Todd. He comes in, he's like, hey, I'm the new Robin. So you have these dueling Robin costumes, and Jason Todd's enjoying kicking the shit out of other people. And then towards the end of the series, you're like, okay, where's this going? It's actually building somewhere, and then it doesn't. That's the frustrating part. The third to last episode is called Hank and Dawn, so it's another Hawk and Dove show, and it focuses entirely on them and how they got to be who they are that you met in the second episode. So they're only in 2 episodes of this series, which is a bummer because I would have loved to have seen way more of them. Then the next episode is called Coriander, and you find out that, surprise, Starfire's an alien, like she was in the comics, and you think you're building to a climax at the end of that episode. Then the final episode of this series for this first season is called Dick Grayson, and it's some weird like alternate universe episode where he's has a kid with Dawn from Hawk and Dove, and he's fighting Batman. Batman kills the Joker, and he's got to take Batman down. And then at the very end, they pull out, and it's like his dark fantasy or whatever, and then that's where they leave the season. And then there's a post-credit scene with Superboy and Crypto for some reason. Like, that wasn't set up at all. So I can't really recommend this unless you're a super huge DC fan like I am, and you feel like it's your duty to watch this. Like, I would not recommend Jim watch this at all because I'd have to explain too much. Although he might enjoy it. It is so very dark, but he needs to watch Daredevil first. But it's that level of darkness of Daredevil, but more violent. Very serious, not for kids. They were driving through Gotham in this last episode called Dick Grayson, and there's 2 people having sex up against the wall. I was like, whoa. There's lots of F words. Like, they're really going for an R-rated feel for a show about young people and teens. So I don't know. I can't recommend it. So that's that. I guess if you feel like you need to watch it, go ahead and watch it. You will enjoy some episodes, but as a whole, this is not appointment viewing for the first outing of the DC Universe. Now, they've got other shows on here as well. We're going to check those out as we go through them. But Titans, so far for me, thumbs down. I bet there's another trailer at Comic-Con coming up this weekend, so we will talk about that when it comes out, and we'll go from there, I guess. So we'll see you guys next time in the Funny Pages. Thanks.